Charlotte's cost of living in 2024 might just shock you. From rent to groceries, find out where your money is really going. And stick around to the end to find a secret ninja tip on how we can save you fortunes. If you've never seen me before, hi, my name is Noah Jenkins with Noah Jenkins Group and Keller Williams Realty, and I'm a realtor in the Charlotte, North Carolina area and help people move to this area from all over the country. So whether you're looking in 9 days or 9 months, call, text, or email us today. We love where we live and we want you to love where you live. So that is the point of this channel, to educate you on all things Charlotte and surrounding areas, so that you know what you're getting into before you make the move here. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button and that like button to see all of my upcoming videos on the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So without further ado, let's jump into the cost of living in Charlotte, North Carolina, specifically for 2024. So a lot of the numbers that I'm going to be referring to in this video are going to be compared to an overall percentage of 100%. And what this 100% means is that's the US average. So when we're looking at individual numbers, just for example, 100 is the US average. So we're going to be comparing that to the North Carolina average, as well as the Charlotte, North Carolina average. And just a quick disclaimer, all of this data is derived from either bestplaces.net, Canopy MLS, or just my own research from looking at prices of different things. First up is grocery costs overall. So in North Carolina, the average percentage is 91%, and in Charlotte, the average is 102.5%. So looking at these number averages, we're looking at about 9% less in the North Carolina average than the US average, and in Charlotte, we're about 2.5% higher than the US average. So let's break it down a little bit more and look at 3 of the common items that you buy when you're grocery shopping and how you can compare that to what the prices are where you currently are. So first up is the price for a gallon of milk, and keep in mind that these are Walmart prices, and of course there's tons of different brands. You can get the organic, you can get just the tons of other stuff that I don't keep up with, but this is just average numbers. So in Charlotte, North Carolina, for a gallon of milk, you're looking at around $3.12. For a dozen of eggs, you're looking at around $3. And then of course, for a loaf of bread, you're looking at around $2.50. So take those numbers and compare it to wherever you are currently. And of course, I can't compare that to a US average because there's really nothing, there's no surveys or anything that goes out that says, you know, where they can find the average from all the different states. So that just sort of gives you an idea of the North Carolina average, Charlotte, North Carolina average, and then looking at the individual 3 items that we talked about and looking at those costs compared to what they may be where you are. So the next category that we're looking at is healthcare. And again, on this one, there's nothing for me really to compare it to with the individual breakdown of prices. So we're just going to be looking at the numbers that bestplaces.net gives us and the percentages for North Carolina and Charlotte compared to the overall US average. So in North Carolina, the percentage is 107.2%, and then in Charlotte, we're looking at about a 95%. So North Carolina overall for healthcare is about 7.2% higher than the US average, and then Charlotte is 5% less than the US average. Next up is the median home price for a home in the US, in North Carolina, and then in Charlotte specifically. So first up, in the United States, the median home price is $420,800. So compare that to the North Carolina median is $387,500. And then specifically in Charlotte, the median home price is about $416,000. Now keep in mind, these are again just medians. If you go outside of the Charlotte area and go to one of the surrounding suburbs, I promise you we can get you a home for anywhere between $250,000 to $300,000. It really just depends on which suburb that you're looking at. Here in Lincolnton, where I currently live, the average home price is around $350,000. If you go a little bit west and go over into Kings Mountain, Shelby, the average may be a little bit more, looking at around, $290,000 to $300,000. Next up on our cost of living for 2024 in Charlotte is utility cost. So again, on this one, there's no real way for me to, kind of find US average or North Carolina averages and compare that to Charlotte. Again, all the different suburbs are going to be different, so we're just looking at Charlotte for this one. And again, we're just looking at numbers from bestplaces.net, as that's the only data that I can really find. So in North Carolina, the average for utility cost is about 99.2% compared to the US average, which is 100. And then specifically in Charlotte, North Carolina, we're looking at 98.3%. And just like with everything else and everywhere else in the world, if you're in the city limits and your utilities are provided by the city, you're probably going to have a bit higher utility rate as if you're outside of the city limits or you're just within the county. Second to last on our list is transportation cost. Transportation cost in North Carolina, the percentage is 83.9 compared to 100, which is the US average. And then in Charlotte, we're looking at about a 97.7%. So let's dive that a little bit further, look at the prices of a gallon of gas and the averages. So in North Carolina, the average price for a gallon of gas is $3.54. Compare that to the Charlotte average, where a gallon of gas is $3.35. Now again, these prices are what they were at the time of this filming. So they may be a little bit more, they may be a little bit less at the time of you watching this video. But this gives you a little bit of a general idea. You can compare these numbers to what it is where you currently are. Another thing to keep in mind with gas prices is if you're gonna be living anywhere close to the South Carolina border, prices of a gallon of gas are always cheaper in South Carolina. So if you jump over the North Carolina, South Carolina line, if you're close to it, you can probably get gas for, a little bit, maybe a lot. Just depends on, the day and what gas prices are, but you can probably get it cheaper in South Carolina. Last but not least on our list of cost of living in Charlotte is miscellaneous, and this is going to include anything from restaurants to clothing to entertainment, education, personal care, etc. So overall in North Carolina, the percentage is 89.2%. And then in Charlotte, we're looking at about 110.3%. So North Carolina as a whole is about 10 to 11% lower than the US average. And then in Charlotte specifically, we're about 10.3% higher than the US average. So as you can see in some of the individual categories, Charlotte is going to be less in some areas, Charlotte is going to be higher in some areas. So let's look overall, all of these categories combined, where do we stack up? So in North Carolina, the overall average is 91%. And then in Charlotte, the overall average is 102.5%. So in Charlotte, we're about 2.5% higher than the US average. And then in North Carolina, overall, the averages were about 11% lower than the US average. And again, this is going to vary depending on what suburb you're in and if you're in the city limits of Charlotte or if you're outside of the city limits. But I can guarantee you that this is a lot lower than some of the other bigger cities across the US, like Atlanta, Raleigh, some of those larger cities. So in my opinion, Charlotte does have a lot lower percentage and a lot lower cost of living than some of the other cities, even in North Carolina, but more specifically outside of North Carolina and the rest of the nation. So here's the secret tip that you've all been waiting for on saving you tons and tons of money. Use a realtor who partners with a utility company that does the shopping for you. So they'll go out on your behalf and they'll find all of the utility companies, they'll find all of the gas prices for if you have propane or anything like that. They'll find mover prices. They'll just shop around rates on different types of utilities for you and saving you time and money. It's a win-win for everyone, where you can spend more time doing the necessary task for you to move from wherever you are to the Charlotte area. So if you found this video helpful, you'll love the custom playlist that I've made for you that has all of my most popular videos about moving to and around the Charlotte area. If you're considering making a move to Charlotte or selling your house in the Charlotte area, give me a call or shoot me a text. I would absolutely love to talk to you and help you make a strategic move to or from the Charlotte area. And if you're not in the Charlotte area, please feel free to reach out to me as well. I'll give you a copy of my buying or my selling book, or both if you're doing both. I just really want to help you. I'll ship them to you for free. I just really want people to be educated in all aspects of real estate, because there's tons of agents who don't do the education part. They're just in it to make a quick buck and move on to their next client, but that is not how we operate here. Feel free to reach out to us at any time. Give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. We'll be more than happy to help you out. And don't forget to smash that like, subscribe, and that bell notification to be notified on new and upcoming videos. Bye for now.